Hello, welcome to Daz Wargaming. You've joined us for another episode of Behind the Brush, and in this episode, we're joined by the wonderful Mr. Sam of Warpgate Studios. How's it going, man? How's it going?
Good, thanks, Buzz. How you doing?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Thank you for joining us. It's absolute pleasure having you on and everything. So thank you for giving up some time to do this.
Always good to spend some time with you, Daz. No worries, mate.
And as always, a massive hello to my co-host, Mr. Dante Paints. How's it going?
Good evening. Are we able to check with Sam at the end whether he still feels the same way?
Yes. Okay. Of course we can.
Hopefully his mood will have improved. His view on us might have improved by then.
Yeah. So
don't push it too much. Don't push it.
Yeah. So if you're watching this on YouTube, we're recording this live on Twitch right now. So if you want to be involved in these recordings, then in the chat while we do it, then please do go over to Twitch and give us a follow over there so you get notified when we go live. We do hang out on hobbies and things after this recording. So yeah, that'd be great if you go and do that. Much appreciated. But yeah, let's get to know Warpgate Studios a little bit better. Let's do that if you're ready, Sam. For these questions.
You get far away, mate.
Here we go. We're going to let Mr. Dante Paints kick us off.
Oh, I get to kick off again. Great. I like this.
Yeah, you kick off, mate.
So we pretty much we ask everyone the same questions because it allows sort of like people to have a think about the responses and stuff like that and have a bit of comparison maybe. So first of all, when and how did you get into the hobby?
1987/88, a long time ago now. I feel really old saying that, but
he actually went to the hobby before me.
87/88, and I got into it via a friend of ours, family friend of ours, had some Marauder, at the time they were Marauder miniatures skeletons that were immense, and there wasn't a lot of them available, but yeah, I got into that, and the guy was like, hey, he was like a little plastic crack dealer who's like, look, hey, if you want to get into this, you should check out this magazine called White Dwarf. And so I was like, all right, cool. And he actually gave me a copy of White Dwarf, and then that was it, down the rabbit hole, unfortunately. But fortunately, I love it. It's a good hobby. I would have been a multi-millionaire by now if I hadn't gone into Warhammer. But yeah, it was super good, and it went from strength to strength. I probably again, like a lot of the people that I spoke to in the hobby, I took a break while I was at university because I found women and booze. So alcohol and girls were top of the agenda, and I didn't really do much for about nearly 10 years of that time period. And then got back into it again. So, and then it is what it is. But it's been fun. I love it.
Yeah, nice one. Let's say anyone that does know you already will mostly know you from your presence on YouTube and in the Instagram hobby community. How long have you been on those two platforms, and what sort of content can people expect to find on your channels?
So YouTube, I've been doing a little bit longer than Instagram, just purely because my wife convinced me to do lots of little videos on how I do things. So she was just like, yeah, you should do that on YouTube. And I literally just started off as a little hobby thing of doing little vids and talking through. And some of the early videos I did were horrible, but they're still fun to do and look back on. And it gets easier the more you do it. And in Instagram, I think I've been on Instagram maybe about 1.5 years, 2 years now, and it's been super fun. Sorry, I'm just getting notifications on my phone. It's been super fun, and it's been crazy really. The last 1.5 years, 2 years, because I kind of looked at it like it's gonna sound really, really bad, but I'm thinking that if I can build it up before I retire, then I might have a little retirement project to do when I get that old, that I'll in another 20 years that I might have something fun to do with the community when I end up retiring.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah. That's really where it was at. But no,
Yeah.
I just enjoy it, dude. And the amount of people that I've met through the hobby, I know that you guys give me shit for. Oh, sorry. If you guys give me crap for
Still one.
for. You guys give me grief for a bit like the old influencer thing, but I love meeting people. I honestly love meeting people in the hobby, regardless of what their status is, whether they've been in it long or not. It's really, really good fun to meet new people that have been in it longer than me, pinnacles of the hobby, those sorts of people. It's just great. Everybody can come together, and I think it's one of those communities that I've met very, very few people that have got a ruler up their bum, and don't want to like, sort of talk to other people. Everybody's pretty much sound when it comes to talking about their experiences, talking about the hobby and all that sort of good stuff. So that's really where I'm at with it, and that's what I wanted to kind of get across with the YouTube videos of like how to and stuff like that. I would never have expected some of my videos to hit like 40,000-50,000 views on YouTube, but it's been great, and I love doing it. So yeah, super fun.
So obviously, for people watching on YouTube, we'll include links to all your stuff in the description. So if people want to check that out, then I'm sure you'll appreciate the support there as well.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, it's good content, guys. It's good content, honestly. Yeah.
So, following on from that, is there any advice for anyone wanting to set up or start a hobby Instagram or YouTube channel?
Just do it. Just get stuff on there, and like seeing the growth of people on there. And I think like one of your previous guests, Paint Party Scott, mentioned it, is the fact that the hobby is so diverse. There are people that have been doing it for such a short amount of time that are top level painters. They've really just gone full deep into the hobby and immerse themselves, and they're really, really good painters. There's other people that take longer to get there, and honestly, I love seeing those journeys probably more, because you actually see little by little them taking on new things, new ideas, and going for it. But yeah, just take the plunge, do it, and it's super, super fun. You build your brand up. And saying that though, it's not a brand. It's just it's a fun hobby / side gig. Yeah, it really is, and it doesn't really feel like work, even though you kind of put in a few hours here, there, and everywhere. Yeah. But it really is super, super fun to do it. But there are some people that are just not meant to do that, and watching other people on Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, and following those people and supporting them is awesome as well. So but yeah, just get all your stuff on Instagram, and so people can kind of look and follow. And I'm a little bit like Paint Party Scott with the fact that I've kind of maxed out all of the people that I can follow on there, because I love following people more than people following me, really. So, and I like seeing people's journeys and people's ideas and stuff like that. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. But yeah,
that's fair. But that's I mean, with your Instagram and stuff, like I say, so much good stuff on there. Like you're just constantly like working on all sorts of projects. There's like a plethora. It's like a library of all these different projects that you've been working on.
I feel like it's a really good motivator as well for you to kick you up the ass to get going on stuff, really, because like when you post a work in progress of something, you're like, well, okay, I'm committed to it now. I'm going to get it knocked out so that I can get a final piece on it.
That's fair.
And it does. It's a good motivator as well. So, and looking at other people's stuff as well is a good motivator, because you can look at, I could do that effect. Let me try that effect out on this model, and go from there, sort of thing. So yeah. What
would you say has been your favourite thing to paint so far? And is there anything you would like to paint in the future?
My favourite thing to do, man. I've like my Golden Demon entry this year, if I can get there, is Angron, the Primarch of the World Eaters, and I enjoyed that because it's such an amazing model, really good sculpt, and I'm about 90 something hours into him at the moment. I'm still not finished, but that model is awesome. I love that. And the spiders that I'm doing at the moment have been kind of fun for the old world. I really can't say like my favorite like of all, because like I'm still trying to improve myself.
Yeah.
So like newer stuff, I'm always like trying new stuff out, and then I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm really happy with that.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's one model ever that I've gone back and gone, wow, I don't think I'll ever be able to replicate that again.
No, let's say naming a couple is absolutely fine too. So like if you've got those, it's like they're the ones that stick in your mind. That's perfectly valid.
Cool.
But is there any model that you haven't done that you just think like one day, like I've got to do that?
There's a couple. There's Bellacore that I haven't painted yet that I want to paint. There's Alariel on the Sigma model on that big beetle thing that she's got. I like that model. I know you've done her.
Wait, the beetle?
Yeah, what?
Yeah, the big beetle thing. Yeah.
I thought it was a crab, but okay.
Same
Is it a crab? I thought it was like a big.
Mine's a crab, isn't it? Mine's a crab. Mine's a crab.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good model. And then I don't know. There's tons I've still got to paint. I've got a Marienburg landship from the old world from Warhammer Fantasy that I've got to paint up as well. I saw someone do that the other day. That I'm looking forward to painting that up as well. But yeah, there's still some. GW are really good in pumping out new models for me to want to paint too. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Cool.
So, leading question, no shame allowed on this one. How many armies do you own, and which of those is your favourite?
All of them. There's not a lot that I don't have. I can probably be easier to tell you the ones that I don't have from 40k and Warhammer Fantasy than the ones I do have. The ones I don't have a Sisters of Battle army at the moment. I just literally sold my Sisters of Battle army off. My Space Marine army is my Ultramarines, just because my son liked blue when I was starting to think about a Space Marine army. He didn't like Spaceballs, he liked the Ultramarine blue, so I ended up starting an Ultramarine army for him. And that turned into kind of my Ultramarine army, and it's going to be handed down to him, but it's a nice big chunky army. I don't have a Necron army, but I do have one sitting behind me, Nuance Sprue, that I probably won't get around to. I've got demons. I love chaos stuff. I've got a Word Bearers army. I've kind of got one for each of the genres. I've got Tau army, but like that hasn't seen the light of day in ages. There's not a lot. I think my first love, really, going way back, was the Orcs. Was Orcs and Goblins for Fantasy and Orcs for 40k, and I've got tons of them. So they're probably my first love, and yeah, I think it sums up my personality with gaming. That like my Orc army, and I love that. So yeah, Orcs all the way.
Nice one. I mean, following on from favourites is here's the biggie: is what's your favourite thing about the hobby?
Favourite thing about the hobby, it's painting primarily. The hobby side of things for me, it's painting. I use games to motivate me to paint, pretty much. So I love going and having a game. Unfortunately, by the time I normally get the hang of an edition, it then goes out and then there's a new edition. So I kind of just get used to something after a couple of years, and then they change the edition. So I'm not so big on the gaming side of things, but more on the painting. But I think my favourite thing about the hobby, honestly, has been meeting people, like-minded nerds that love painting, love the hobby, and all that sort of side of things. So for me, meeting people, talking about it, helping people out, people helping me out, and just a general level of awesomeness from people in the hobby has been tremendous. I don't think any other hobby has got the community spirit that I know that there's salty people around, and you can get some not so nice people now and then in the hobby, but in general, I'd say 95% of this community is phenomenal at helping people, talking to people about personal life, about the painting, modelling side, anything you want. So that for me has been really, really nice, and I that's why I've stuck at it again. So you know, it's been easy to jump back into after taking a break a few years. Yeah. So
awesome.
So, following on, funnily enough, from painting,
yes,
what is your favourite colour and brand of paint? Bearing in mind they can be different, so you could pick, say, a Vallejo paint and say Army Painter in general is your favourite. Okay. Just to generalise there.
It's difficult because I use like 5 or 6 different brands of paint when I'm painting, but my favourite out of for a brand of paint is Pro Acryl from Monument Hobbies. That is my top paint. The coverage on it is phenomenal. The white, if you haven't ever tried out the bold titanium white from Pro Acryl, it is the best white ever produced so far. So I love their paint, and that's good. Their stuff is good through an airbrush or hand painted. It's a very, very good range of paints, and what you get for money wise is a lot better value than GW. My favourite colour, however, is from the Vallejo Mecha range. I'll get it for you actually. It's this paint here. It's Vallejo Mecha Turquoise. This is my favourite colour out of the whole lot. So yeah, I've used it on, I try and fit it in on a ton of different projects when I can. I've used it as a base of verdigris for weathering on bronze and those sorts of things. I've used it for energy stuff on Votan models and power stuff on Space Marines, and I even painted a Space Marine chapter up for a competition in that colour because I loved it so much. So yeah.
Oh, nice. So at the beginning of this, we established that you've been in the hobby like quite a while now. Safe to say.
Yes.
Safe to say.
Yes.
Yes. Would you have any advice to give anyone that's wanting to get into the hobby?
As take it step by step. Like it's very daunting to look at straight off. With the like when you look at it as a hobby for the cost side of things, which is what a lot of people do, they look at it and go, wow, it's costly. Once you actually get a small selection of paint, and I would probably troll eBay or Facebook Marketplace or those sorts of places for second-hand models. Pick up some models that you know, and it doesn't really matter. It's anything that takes your fancy, and practice. You're not going to be Golden Demon heavy metal painter overnight. You really aren't, and it'll take time. You know what that time is going to be totally up to you with how much time you put into it. But there's a lot of hacks that you can get around stuff. There's little things that I've got. Excuse me. If you're using plastic models, try plastic glue. It's a lot easier. It fills the gaps and it does help. Super glue for resin stuff is great. There's tons of little advice really, but just take it slow, enjoy it, because there's no point in doing it if you don't enjoy it. But you can make it cost effective by getting secondhand paints, secondhand models, get a little setup, a little desk somewhere in your house. The only thing I probably would say that is worth investing in is a good light, so you don't ruin your eyes. Getting a good painting light is something to not scrimp on. And brushes as well. You can get some Walmart brushes and use those like in the UK it would be, you know, some Tesco's paint brushes or something like that. And yeah, they're not going to be the best quality, but while you're learning how to load a paintbrush up and all the skills you're going to be doing, it's fine to use cheap brushes. And then when you're ready to progress, there's just levels in the hobby that you've got to kind of go through. But yeah, take your time and just make sure you enjoy it, and talk to as many people as you can, because there's so many people like old neckbeards like me that have been in the hobby a while that might be able to help and give you some hacks and stuff. And again, people will help you. They really will help you get into the hobby because we all love it. We all love it, and it's an addiction, and we want to get as many people in to share our addiction as possible.
Yeah, for sure.
So following on from that, do you have a hobby hero or someone who particularly inspires you?
There's a lot of cool people that I've met, and I probably couldn't narrow it down to one, so I'm going to rattle off some really cool people that I've met. Painting wise, Juan Sands, his name is, and his handle on Instagram is El Miniaturista. Very, very good painter, like one of the best painters, along with, and I know Ryan last week mentioned Richard Gray. He's awesome as well. But just for like an actual hobby hero that helps people out, Duncan Rhodes has been phenomenal. I met Duncan at LVO last year, and his patience with people and his just honest love of painting and helping people out regardless of their level and trying to make it as accessible as possible to everybody was just brilliant. And Roger, his partner as well, they both work for Games Workshop, and they're both lovely people. There's honestly so many people that I love in this hobby that are real hobby heroes that help people out in doing stuff, and that do lots of charity work and all that sort of good stuff. So there's too much to just narrow down to one. But if I had to like a proper hero for helping people out, it'd probably be Duncan, because he's just such a nice guy. Peachy's awesome as well, dude. Like I've yet to meet anybody that worked for Games Workshop that's come out of work at Games Workshop that's not awesome and a gorgeous human being. So it's both them, Duncan, Peachy, and I'm probably doing injustice to people I'm not mentioning, so I'm just going to.
No, you can't mention everyone. Unfortunately, it's very difficult. It's it's good to just acknowledge a few, and you have, So I don't think anyone's going to be holding anything against you for not mentioning them, apart from you didn't mention me. But we'll carry on. Okay. No, that's fair enough.
No, you're awesome.
No, we're not going back now.
I know you're trying to milk it. It's fine. It's good.
But in all seriousness, what are your what are your aspirations for the future, and what can people expect to see from you?
I think like more armies. I'm going to be rounding out some armies of mine. My Votan I'm going to be finishing off in the next few months for a decent 2,500 point army that I can mess around with to make a 2,000 point army. Old World coming back has been brilliant, and I'm fully immersed in Old World stuff at the moment. So more forest goblins, spiders, and stuff like that, if I get it. Maybe some more Tyranids. Tyranids were very, very popular for people to want to jump onto my Instagram, and I got tons of people like following me because of my wacky green jungle nids. So I may well do some more of them. I honestly don't know. I'm kind of playing it by ear really with what's on the workbench for me to paint and do. Try and get some more games in, try and get some more people met. I'm going to try and get to Adepticon for Golden Demon, but the flight prices at the moment are just a little bit crazy, so I'm not sure if I'm going to make that. But maybe some more painting competitions, paint some more stuff up competition level instead of just knocking them out for armies. But I don't know. I don't like to say, because things will change month to month for me, really. So, hopefully move this year as well. And I've just moved like 4 months ago back to the west coast of the States. I'm hoping to move down to Florida and get set up with the studio down in Florida this year sometime as well. So tons out of the hobby, in the hobby, to do. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Oh, nice one, dude. Nice one. I think for Behind the Brush, I think we have one more question, actually.
Well, it's a bit of a compilation question from a few that we had from viewers of previous streams. So we've kind of pulled this together into one question for you. So Why the hatred for fantasy minis on round bases? Why so much love for the worst Space Marine chapter? And what's it really like being such a mega influencer?
Well, I wondered if AOS was going to be mentioned in this question and answers. I've not got any hate for the models of AOS. I'm going to put that out there at the moment. Some of the AOS models are gorgeous. They really are. I've just got an issue with the way that they blew up the old world. If people haven't talked to me about this beforehand or seen me and you talking about this, Daz, the level of saltiness of them blowing up my old Warhammer Fantasy universe is dissipating now because they brought it back with the old world. But I still find it very, very difficult to get in on the fluff of AOS. The fluff is just not there for me, and it's just a total different level of fantasy than what I'm used to with the dark, gothic, medieval style fantasy and the high fantasy that AOS is at the moment. But as I said, the models are fine. I've got no issue with them, and I've painted up a few of them for different projects. But so that's my answer to my hatred. Is more geared towards the fluff rather than the models. The models are fine. The second part of your question was, why have I got so much love for the worst Space Marine chapter ever? Don't think the Ultramarines really are the worst. They get a lot of hate for being the poster boys, but they're really not that bad. If you read the fluff into them, they're not too bad. And as I said, the only reason why I got into them is because my son liked that colour blue. That's fair. That's it. And so if you're going to send any hate, you're literally redirecting it towards my son. So I can get him on here.
Before we go on to the third part, Visago in chat basically said he feels bad for mocking Sam about his Ultramarines now, to which I replied, hold my beer. Because I knew this question was coming up.
Well, I'm glad. But the Ultramarine. The thing that I found with Ultramarines is that they, like, especially with my 4-year-old son, they resonate with kids and like for getting kids into the hobby. Because normally boys of an age, their favourite colour is normally blue. Don't ask me why, but normally like my son's friends all like blue, right, for some weird reason. And so I think it resonates with their target market of getting kids interested in it. And again, all of the boxes of Space Marines are painted in Ultramarine colours.
That is true.
It sets their imagination off straight away by looking at a box with blue and going, oh wow, that's kind of cool, sort of thing. So I get it. Yeah. Their fluff isn't the most interesting. They really aren't the most like wow, type thing. But I enjoy it. It's quite relaxing painting them, and I can knock out Ultramarines pretty decent. Yeah. So that's the second part. What was the last part?
And what's it really like being such a mega influencer?
I am not a mega influencer.
Anyone watching this is just a bit of banter between us and the hobby community on Instagram where we wind Sam up about it. But I get it too. It's all back and forth. It's just that Sam's a guest on this, so it had to be.
Well, I have to really be careful now not to swear because this is part that comes out of me. No, I don't have a level of affection for influencers, so being called an influencer is quite a derogatory term for me. So that in itself is interesting, but I'm just lucky. I guess I'm just lucky. I don't influence anybody. I take the piss a lot.
There's another one
of that kind of style things, but yeah.
But
it's good fun. It's good fun, and as I said, if it helps people to get into the hobby, I'm game. So.
Yeah, and that's fair, man. I mean that's the end of our questions for Behind the Brush. So yeah, thank you for answering them. Anyone that's currently watching this on Twitch with us, hang around because we're going to carry on doing some hobby. And Sam's allowed to swear then and tell us what he really thinks. So yeah, if you're interested and you're watching on YouTube, you want to be involved in these, then remember, head over, find us on Twitch, give us a follow, join in on these recordings. They're a good laugh. They're a good laugh to do. But yes, as I say, all of Sam's links will be in the description on YouTube. So do go and follow and subscribe and all that jazz. Show him some hobby love. Just want to say a massive thank you to my co-host Dante Paints.
You're welcome.
As always. And yeah, a huge thank you, Sam. Thank you very much for coming on.
No, pleasure. Lovely talking to you guys. Cheers.
Yeah. Right, so YouTube land. Until next time, stay safe and happy hobby.
Happy hobbying.
Bye-bye.